Hello and welcome to another episode in Ken Training. This is part of the stucco repair series. In the last segment that we showed you, we put the stucco on the wall. We didn't use traditional stucco, we used a product called Rapid Set, and so we could do it all in one day. Traditional stucco would have taken like 28 days to get paint ready, but we are paint ready right now. Okay, here's the project. That's the stucco that we put on the wall. This whole thing was demoed out. So this is the section that we had completely demoed, including taking out the wood and putting on the building paper, redoing the insulation, building paper, the new weep screed, then the building paper, then the stucco lath, then the stucco, and now here we are. So before I start putting some primer on the stucco, what I want to do is when I put the wood on, which was part of this project, let me see if I can show you on the camera. The nails, I put some sealant over the nails. Yeah, right there you can see that. And you see how the sealant is kind of dried up a little bit. Now you can kind of just see the nail heads. So because that takes a couple hours to set up before you can paint it, the first thing I'm going to do is get my sealant out, go over all the nail heads, and make sure that everything's all sealed up. Then I can go ahead and start putting primer onto the stucco. Alright, just in case you've never done this before, this is super easy. This is the sealant that I'm going to use, and this is the putty knife here that I'm going to use. It's like a 3-inch putty knife. This stuff here is Dana Flex Ultra. Got it at the Home Depot. I don't know, let's just say it's $7 a tube, right? The color is white. The important thing that I want to know here is that this is going to be paint ready in 1 hour. So that's important to know in case you're tight on your time frames. Now let me show you how easy this is to put on. Let me show. Okay, I'm zooming in right here so you can just see these three areas. But basically, this is how easy this is. All you have to do, get a little bit of sealant on your area, like so. Doesn't have to be super pretty. And then just wipe it like that, and just let that set up. And I'm just going to continue doing the whole board just like that. That easy. Okay, I've got the sealant on the wood. It's white on white, so it's going to be super hard for the camera to pick it up. Plus I've got the sun on me, so I've in some shading that's not being friendly. So, but everything is all sealed up. So I'm just going to let that cure out, and I can repaint that. Definitely don't want to just leave sealant on that because it collects dust. The paint is just, it's a better finish. I'm ready to go ahead and put the primer here on the stucco. I was looking at the stucco and I noticed that I had clogged up my weep holes. So I went around and see if I can show you. Yeah, like there's I got them all free now, but I had them so that they were a little clogged up. I didn't realize that. I probably should have put tape on it, but now they're all free to allow for the drainage of the stucco system. So anyways, I got that out of the way. So that's good to go, and that's it. So I'm going to take a break and take dinner now, but I just thought I'd give you an update. Okay, the last time we were here, I put some sealant on top of the nail heads, and this is the following day. I got a bucket of water and a sponge there, and I'm just going to sponge off all this material here, and not the stucco because that sponge won't work well trying to scrape down that stucco. It's too coarse and it would rip the sponge apart. But I'm going to sponge out the top sill here and all that and get it ready for the primer. So that's the step where I'm at right now. Okay, I'm all ready to start putting the primer on the wall. Here is the primer that I'm going to use, Kilts All-Purpose 2. And down here in the fine print, if you can read it, It says that it's good for wood and stucco, and I can recoat in 1 hour. So I'm not really concerned about the recoat time right now. All I want to do is get the stucco, excuse me, not the stucco, the primer. I want to get the primer everywhere, basically from here down. So the next time you see this, everything is going to be white, including this side over here. I don't think I need to bore you with the me painting, so I'm not going to video this segment. I'm just explaining what I'm doing. I do have a small roller tray over there. That's a 4-inch roller with a 3/4 inch nap on the roller handle, and I've got a I think it's a 2.5 inch angled brush so I can do my cut in, and that's it. I'm going to go to town. Here we go. I actually didn't realize it till I just started painting, but I'm actually touching 3 surfaces. This, the Z flashing, which is considered painted metal because it's not raw aluminum, it's painted, plus wood, plus stucco. Now this is the primer that I'm putting on, Kilt's All-Purpose 2. Come down here, and it is good for the wood, it is good for stucco right there, and it is good for painted metal. It does other things here too, galvanized and brick and masonry and so forth, but on the 3 surfaces that I'm touching, I'm just verifying that my primer that I'm putting on is compatible with the 3 different materials that I'm putting on, and this is compatible. So one thing you want to just make sure of. Oh, and by the way, another thing I just want to mention while I'm here. I want to make sure that I'm putting primer over all the areas where I had put the sealant on. Sealant collects dust and dirt and stuff like that. It is not smooth like paint is. So here's my 3 nail holes, like just in this one section as an example, and I'm going to be putting another coat of primer and then another coat of paint over this to get it all, the whole board glass smooth. I don't want different textures in there, paint, sealant, and whatever. I want the whole thing just painted flat all the way across. And that, so including the sealant where you've got it in joints like this here. I know it's a little bit of shading right there, but there's sealant in that joint there. There's sealant here. I'm putting primer all over that, and then I'm going to put paint. This any place where I've got sealant, I'm just going to put paint over anything that is sealant, because I don't want sealant to be on the final top coat. As a matter of fact, now that I think of it, I believe I've got some sealant just right there. I'm going to clean that with my sponge, dry it off with the rag that I've got right there, and while I've got everything out right here, I'm going to get this joint right here, just to make sure that there's no sealant there. This is all just paint right up to it. Okay, here you go, 1 coat of primer all the way from here, all those surfaces, and then around the corner. Pretty good. It's not 100% full coverage, but it's 98% coverage, so it's pretty good. Anyways, that's where we're at. It's a lot harder to paint stucco than it is interior drywall because of all those deep valleys and ridges and that harsh texture. Alright, so anyways, I've got to do white paint on my next coat, and just do the wood and plus the trim piece and all that, so get the semi-gloss white, get all that done. So I'm just going to kind of work from the top down. The stucco is not white. The primer is white, but the ultimate color of the stucco is this other color, which is, I don't know, some custom blend thing. I had to do a color match and all that. So I'm just going to start from the top down and then just do the stucco last. Let me give you a shot of the other wall. There you go. The waterproofing around the box came out really, really well. I mean, that is like 100% sealed. I am not going to have a water leak into the house at that penetration, because that's where you're going to get your water leaks most likely, is at penetrations. But I'm feeling so confident about this. This is not going to be an issue whatsoever. Everything is just sealed up real well. And if you look at my channel, you'll see how I went and did a lot of extra sealant around on the paper stage, the building paper stage of that penetration. So that's 100% waterproof. Very confident about that. So that's it. That's it for now. Over and out. Okay, we're back the next day, and we have one coat of primer on everything, and now we are going to take our white paint, which is this Behr Paint Premium Plus. It's ultra pure white is what it is, exterior semi-gloss, and it's just a ultra pure white, and that is going to go on all of the top product. So basically from the top of the window down to the bottom of the wood, all of that plus the wood there and the wood on that side. The stucco gets a different color paint. So right now we're just going to focus on the white, and that is where we're at right now. And for the job, I'm just going to use my 2.5 inch angled brush. I'm not even going to use a roller, and I'm just going to go right out of the can and just make it easy. It's not that much wood, trim, whatever. You'll notice that you'll see on the Z flashing how it's just got a light coat of primer on it, so that should be more filled in with the next coat of paint. Should look thicker. It might need 2 coats of paint because it was a different color, but everything else should only need just 1 coat of paint, really. So we'll go from there right now. Okay, there you go with 1 coat of paint. You can see how the Z flashing filled in a little bit better. It's still not 100% coverage. It's going to need another coat of paint, but everything else is pretty much 100% coverage. Just trying to give you a detail on what that looks like. And I spent really good attention going over where the transition is from the stucco to the wood underneath. I went and did that seam right there really well underneath and overlapped slightly onto the stucco. And so I didn't have to, it's okay that I didn't have to tape that or anything, because when I go to do the stucco painting, I'll just cut in a little bit more gently, or more carefully I should say, from the stucco to the wood. So I do overlap from the white onto the stucco, and then I'll do cut in from the stucco onto the transition where it meets the white wood. So anyways, that's it. Everything else is good. I just have to let this set up. I can't touch it again for 4 hours per the instructions on the can. I was looking at the instructions on recoat time. Actually, I think it's on the back side of that can, but I know it's 4 hours. So we'll just let this go, come back in 4 hours, and we can give it another coat of white and be done with the white. Okay, we are back again. I now want to get some paint on the stucco. I do need to still put another coat of paint on that white Z flashing right there, but I'm going to let that go and I'll touch up all the white paint later. Right now we're working with this paint, Behr Masonary Stucco and Brick Paint. The color is tinted. You can see the color right there. And that is pretty much just going to match. That's a color match for the color of the exterior stucco of the existing house. So the next time you see this, the stucco is going to look completely different. So that's where we're at right now. And I just have my a small 4-inch roller, a cut-in brush, a cut-in brush, 2.5 inch cut-in brush right there, and milling pad and so forth, and I'm just going to go to town. Here we go. Okay, 1 coat of stucco paint on the wall. You can see how now it looks completely different because now it has the house color paint on the stucco. And I guess if I was to complain about anything, I think that I can really see how poorly I did on that texture match, trying to match the house stucco now with the paint on it. But I am not a stucco expert, and I did the best I could. So anyways, I want to still give it another coat. The container says that the recoat time is 4 hours, so got to let this sit till after 4:30 today, and then I can give it the second coat, and then after that I'll touch up on the white. But I just wanted to show you where I was at. Okay, I am going to give it another coat of paint on the stucco. This time I just went a little, put a little blue tape there because I noticed on that white wood trim there, and also over here I noticed a little bit of splatter, and I had to wipe it off, and it was a little bit of a pain in the butt. And I just kind of also protected around that box. I probably should have done this on the first go around, but whatever, it is what it is. So that's that on this side. Whenever I do painting, I always have some water, a sponge, and that's the brush that I use to clean my brush when I am done with the water. So just to give you some tips on what I'm doing with my painting. Just a couple of things about my painting. I always like to keep my cans as clean as possible, so I always try to, if I have any spills coming down the can, I wipe it up with the wet sponge right away. That's one thing that I'll always do. And another thing is that I'm going to stir up my paint before I use it. Now, on my brush, this is the brush that I've been using for the whole job, and when I put the brush away, this container is called a keeper. You want to put your brush back in this in order to keep the bristles nice. Now what I did was, after I got done cleaning the brush, what I do is I wrap it in this just a white paper towel, and then I put it inside of the keeper here. So I keep the keeper and then use the brush, and then it's good to go. This is how I try to get the longest life possible out of my brush. Now, when it comes to the roller, this is the roller that I used for the job. And by the way, this particular roller was nothing more than this roller here, which is a Rough Surfaces 3/4 inch nap, 9 inch. What I did was, because this is a 4-inch handle, I just took a hacksaw and I just cut this in half in order to get 2 of these. So the first one is actually right here, which I used for the primer. And just in case I needed to put any more primer on, I just hold it in this white disposable bag and just put it on the workbench and then keep it aside. But this is how I you know, in between jobs I use this so I don't have to keep using a new roller. So that's a couple of tips of how I try to organize myself and keep my equipment as clean as possible. When I close down my cans, I'm going to use a rubber hammer mallet so I don't dent the lids here. So I'm trying to be gentle with that, and just stuff like that, basic stuff. The painting is 100% complete. We have 1 coat of primer, 2 coats of paint on everything. The wood, the stucco, the trim, everything. So we are fully protected from the elements and from the UV rays of the sun and so forth. So paint is just drying now. We can start working on the landscape tomorrow. But here's detailed shots of how everything kind of looks. You can see how the paint just really blended in really well with the original color. So that was the color match there. So you can see the paint color there, and then if I just scroll back and show you the house paint color, it's pretty much the same color. Okay, so that matched out fine. The worst part about everything was my inexperience on the texture. I guess I should have done a practice piece. If you're trying to do this yourself for the first time and you're trying to match a texture, my recommendation is please go ahead and do a test piece on something and just try to get your texture down. Alright, right now I want to put this cover plate back on here, and I don't want to break the ears off, so I have it sitting in a bowl of warm, very warm water. So it should be softened enough. Let's go ahead and try to put it on without breaking it. I got it, right there. There it is. It's a tight fit, and I didn't want to break it. It cost me $20 for this thing. I didn't want to have the cover be broken, you know, right away. All right, so I'll get a rag and clean that off, but that takes care of the outlet. So I was just over here as part of my project, and I was just cleaning the windows before I put the screens back on. And let me show you what I found. Let's see if I can show you this one's a pretty good one. Now I've got tape here because I need to put sealant on this, but I want you to see right where my finger is. I'm just pushing on the window gently, and you see how that seal, you can see that the seal is just completely broken right there. And so what happens is when it rains and the rain comes down, the rain is going to go inside of this seal and then come down the window and just land here inside of the window and just completely destroy the window. So I got it taped up because I want to put some sealant on there and protect these windows as much as possible. So this one here was probably the worst one. This one over here, maybe this is the worst one. Look at that distance, and you can, when you push it with your finger slightly, you can see how it opens that gap up there. So I'm just going to seal this up now with some the same sealant that with DAP, I think it's called Dynaflex or something like that. The same sealant I used right there, white in color, and it's white windows, so it's all going to match. But holy cow! You know, just something's, it was an unintended project that I didn't expect, but it won't take much to fix it. I just got to put some sealant on it, but just show you things you find that you don't expect to, you're working on one project over here, and then you're just cleaning, you find something else. Anyways, that's it. I just want to show you how easy this is. Just taking my sealant. Oh, the sealant that I'm using is Dynaflex Ultra by DAP, which is white in color. And not too much, actually very little product is going in, just trying to fill that gap as much as possible. But this is just a very fast job, just so that you protect your windows. I guess the good lesson to be learned here is to be doing your own house inspections, to be looking for this sort of stuff. I was just cleaning the window, I would have never noticed it. But it shows you how you really got to kind of keep an eye on things. Okay, now it's just a matter of running my finger down there, getting that sealant in there, make sure I've got a good bond. And doing a little bit of quality control. I think I'm a little light right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a little more right there. And I'll go both directions, up and down. And this section here is tough. Try that again. One more time. They don't give you much room to work with here. It's just a small thing. Okay, that looks good. Now, while the sealant is not set up, I'll go ahead and pull off the tape. See how the tape keeps you, everything's nice and clean when you do it with the tape. Let me give you a close-up. Alright, so here's that same joint, but I'm going to give you a zoom in so that you can see it as detailed as possible. Small amount of sealant. I didn't want to go crazy. I'm just trying to seal up that leak, that's all. And if it opens up again, I'll come back and do the same thing. Let's see, did I get that? Looks like I might have a little hole right there, but since it's a wet sealant, I don't want to touch it, so I'll leave it and re-inspect it tomorrow. And basically that's the same process. So I still have more to go. There was a couple of holes here I want to get, and I still have to do this whole one here, but I just wanted to show you the process, that's all. Okay, this is the last video for the stucco repair series. This is your final product that I'm going to present for this video. I am going to be changing this around for the my next video series segments is going to be redoing the landscaping from this transition out. So if you want to subscribe to my channel, you'll be able to see the next series, which is going to include taking these two paver stones. I have more paver stones over here, so I'm going to increase another row of paver stones from 2 to 3 here. I'm going to leave 2 here, and I'm also going to put a special mat underneath. Let me show you that backing mat. But before I get to the products for the next project, this is your final final look at how this project came out. Everything came out good. The worst part about this whole job, if there is a worst part, is going to be the texture finish that I put on. I did not do enough practice to match that texture right there. So I think that I could have done more practice and I could have got that looking better, but I didn't. So so I'm going to have to live with this particular thing. All in all, though, I think from the casual person that just looks at it, they're not really going to notice it. It's just a stucco wall to most people. So anyways, that will give you the final shot of what this looks like. Alright, here's some materials for the next project. I got 7 bags of all-purpose sand that's going to go underneath all the paver stones. I'm going to rip up all the paver stones that are currently on the ground. This here is a bag of landscape fabric. This here is paver edging that's going to go on the edging. And I also have these mats here. These mats, hang on, let me give you a different angle on that. Before I show you the mats, I also got some perma sand, which is just a polymer or polymetric sand, which goes in between the paver stones after everything is said and done. That's the last thing that goes on for the project. And I also got some rebar so I can use to help give me some stakes to put some string lines so I can figure out what my elevations are. But let me show you these mats. This is the interesting thing. Alright, so going over the rest of the materials here. Here is the mat, which is called paver base, and you can see in this little pictorial that they provide that you're going to put down some landscape fabric, then some sand, then these paver bases, and then the pavers go on top of that. And this is a product, a new technology, in which you will not need to put in the gravel base that you used to put in the past. So it's supposed to make the job much easier. Well, let me tell you, I still spent $400 today at the Home Depot, so it certainly was not an inexpensive day. These here are the paver edgings called ProFlex paver edging by Edge Pro there. And then I also got some stakes, additional stakes to put them in. And these are just some landscape fabric stakes to hold the landscape fabric in place. So that's pretty much the materials. Okay, that will conclude the series for stucco repair series from start to finish. So then you pretty much, if you saw every single segment, you saw that entire job start to finish. And now you've got an idea of what the next project is, which is really a landscaping project or a hardscape project, putting in paver stones. Now I put the original paver stones in there, and they are really they've been in there for, let's just say, 7 years, and some of them have settled and walked. And I'm hoping with this and by the way, when I did that, all I did was take the ground, level it out, tamp it down, put the pavers in, and just the pavers are extremely inexpensive, $1.36 per 12 inch by 12 inch paver. I think it's 12 inch by 12 inch by 1.5 inches, and that is very cheap. Now so when you do 60 square feet, it's like, you know, less than $100. And I just got done spending $400, and I only bought 14 extra paver stones because I just want to increase one row. So I spent a lot of money on materials to try to do the job right. So hopefully this next series will come out and long lasting for years to come. Similar results to what my expectation is on this stucco job that we just did. That stucco job I expect to last over 50 years trouble-free. That's my personal expectation. Maybe the paint. The only thing that thing should need between now and 50 years from now is paint. Other than that, that's it. Please, if you haven't done so already, click on like if you liked the video. If you didn't like it, please leave a comment why you didn't like it. Subscribe to my channel, Ken Training. Get ready for the next series of landscape projects that I'm going to be taking on. And I will catch you on the flip side.